with Stewy. Speak out with Stewy. Speak out with me. Let your voice free. Speak out with Stewy.
Getting greasier per the video, Stewy girl. Then my bill will get sent to your address for the minutes that you owe me, so we're good.
Well, welcome back, Dave, and thank you for coming to Speak Out with Stewy. You were my first, and now you're like my fifth because I keep messing up videos, but you're very important to me, and you have an amazing voice, and I want to hear all about what you've been up to. Just a little backstory. I know you because I coached you in duo acting, and you were my very first duo, or actually any student, to make it to the finals at a national tournament. It was you and your partner Amani performing The Wiz. It is one of my all-time favorites. If I can find a little clip from it, I'll try to put it in here. It was incredible. And you played Dorothy.
So I am Dave Baychoo. I go by he, his, him pronouns. And I am a graduate very recently of Texas Tech University. I got a BS, so Bachelor of Science in Microbiology, with a minor in chemistry and Spanish. And I am going to pursue my MBA in business. And then the year after that, hopefully, I am doing med school.
MBA, med school, a bunch of math and science. I don't know how we know each other, really, because I kind of zoned out when you were talking about all that. Just kidding. So I think one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here is to educate about some issues that are really important to you, because it's kind of your career path. You want to do something that I've never thought of, didn't know about, didn't know there was a need for, to help transgendered people in general to live their best lives. How are you going to do that? How are you going to change the world and make things better?
So the overall goal is to open up a chain of clinics in underserved areas. So college towns like Lubbock, College Station, and really any population that isn't a million is considered underserved. So I want to open up a chain of clinics that would have hormone therapy and possibly do consults for reassignment surgery, whether I be the one behind the scalpel and doing the reassignment surgery myself, or possibly the person opening up these chains of clinics and running them and making sure they stay established within these communities.
So reassignment surgeries for transgendered people, can you explain a little bit more about that? And the fact that there's not a lot of opportunities or places for people to go who are transgendered?
Were you wanting me to explain what it means, or just what I plan on doing with it?
We'll talk about, for people who don't really understand what it means to be transgendered, what does that mean? We have all the letters that we're all learning and trying to figure out, and it's important that we're educated about it. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
So a transgender individual is someone that doesn't identify, so their gender is not going to be the same thing as their sex. So your sex is what you were born as, and that could be male or female. And then your gender is what you choose to identify as. So that doesn't have to co-align or coexist as the exact same thing as what you were born as, but it could be what you personally feel comfortable in and what you want to identify as. And it can also be non-binary as well if you just don't identify by anything within the spectrum, or you could be just both and fluid, and you could migrate between the two of them. So a transgender individual is someone that is not as the same as what they were born as. And it could also branch out to mean someone that is wanting to reassign, in a sense. So going to the other gender that wasn't what they were born as and become that person both physically and mentally. So being in Lubbock, we're 5 hours away from a big city that does any type of stuff like that. So we hit the issue of if someone is ready and they know this is their truest form, and that could possibly be the last step to getting them to where they want to be. We hit that issue of it's not easy for you to take off of work. It's not easy for you to travel 5 hours or afford to travel the gas money, get a hotel if you don't live there, get the gas money back, or take off that many days of work. So really, it is vital, because these people aren't able to be themselves. And that is an underseen need that people aren't focusing on at all. So I am a brown as can be, possibly, a West Indian. So it's Indian, but a little bit more mixed and culturally diverse within the sense that we're Afro-Caribbean and we're also Afro-American, Indian. It's a very big blended. So my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago, and then they moved to Dallas and had me. So I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and then I just ended up staying in Texas throughout my whole life. And I do have a big, diverse family as well. Necessarily growing up, though, it wasn't the best. You have that issue where parents born in other countries, culturally, and also their norm that they see is not what we have now in our society. So they're not used to the idea of homosexuality, or they're not even used to they're not used to the idea of anything on the spectrum, to be completely honest, but they aren't exposed to these things. So when you're exposed to these at such a different time and place, and even it being your own child, it's a culture shock, and it will always be. And to my parents, I was like going from fire into an ice cold bath. It was the biggest shock you can possibly give to someone. It's not something they're used to, they're not comfortable with, they don't understand it. So the first thing that's going to happen is fear. So out of fear, a lot of negative things happened. And it wasn't a positive growing experience. It didn't help me fundamentally grow up. It really did stunt my growth. It stunted me finding my sexuality. And it put me in a position to where I had to go back and forth between the closet. And it's not fun coming to terms with yourself and then repressing it once that 8 to 5 school shift closes. You know, after that, once I step off those school grounds, I'm not safe. If I'm not in the closet, who knows where I'm going to end up the next day. So it's one of those things where I've seen the differences and emotion and how your parents can look at you and how you're perceived as just not even human. You're devalued, and they don't see you as a person, but rather an item, or I like to say a dirty wash rag is what I was seen as. It's just not positive growing up. And getting through that really kind of was my building block to my life, and it got me to the position that I'm in now. I'm pushing 23 now. I am on my own. I'm independent. My parents and I are actually redeveloping our relationship, so it's interesting to see that. I've came out a record-breaking 13 times now, so maybe the 14th time they'll understand it.
Really?
Yes, I have came out so many times, and they're just like, next year. I'm like, no, not next year, this year, right now. There's nothing different. Still like men, sorry.
I do remember you coming out multiple times and then going right back in.
I didn't go back in. They're not grasping the concept now.
To them.
At this point, yeah,
Not
they
to
think
the
I'm
world.
just saying it for funsies now.
Just to the parents.
So you're out and proud now and doing your thing and inspiring others. And so give me some advice for that person who might be watching and maybe they feel like you feel. Their parents are not going to get past their cultural biases and be able to comprehend and understand them and accept them for who they are. You know, what would you say to that person?
I would say, I always said, really, it gets better is so cliche because I am so impatient, and yes, it does get better. You know, I am thriving right now, but at that time I wasn't, and it just didn't seem enough to say it gets better. And I truly think the words "just make it till tomorrow" was my go-to and really helped me get there, because I like to focus, especially in the negative, making it to the next day. And once I get to the next day, I knew that once you slept on it, or once you able, yes, she's sleeping. So once I was able to get to the next day, then I could either do something differently, or I could re-tackle that problem, or simply just let it go. And getting through each day slowly, because it was a very slow and painful progress, really did push me to this point.
I always told myself, just make it to college and then you'll be free. You'll get a degree, you'll get your education. You won't have to rely or depend on anyone, and you'll be self-sufficient. And I think that's what everybody wants, is just to be independent and have that freedom. Stop yawning. I see you.
A lesbian, G is gay, B is for bi, T is for trans, Q is actually for queer. Some people say questioning. Subjective, I say it's queer. I is intersex, and then A is asexual. Unfortunately, they didn't put the P in yet for pansexuals. We do recognize y'all. D for demisexuals. We do have y'all out there as well. Anybody that I left out, I didn't leave you out because I don't respect you or I don't know about it. I just personally am half asleep. So, but also, I don't actually know the whole spectrum. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. I'm actually still learning to this day more and more. I just learned actually more about demisexuals recently, which is a very interesting section of the spectrum, which is a huge spectrum to learn about. And then demisexual is the emotional attraction. So it could also kind of get intertwined with bisexuality, because some people think, the emotional attachment is also the same thing as bisexuality, but because I am not of this group, I can't necessarily clearly identify it, and I have yet to find someone that is able to give me their personal touch on it. But what I grasped from it is that with bisexuality, you are both emotionally and sexually attracted, and then demisexuals are just that emotional connection that you can have with someone is not based on your gender.
It is complicated, and so I think everyone should try to get educated on what these things mean and use the correct pronouns, which you did in your introduction. And I learned from you that I need to add my personal pronouns to my email signature. So I'm going to do that. And just make sure that we respect the pronouns that people ask us to go by. It's not that difficult to extend that courtesy and that respect to someone, to address them in the way that they prefer to be addressed. And to ask our students, if any teachers are watching, to ask them what pronoun they go by, because you might be surprised. They may just not have felt that the opportunity has arisen that they could share that with you. So I think it's important. Don't you?
Definitely. I do think that we don't have the comfortability with just saying it. I really do think at this point in time, if we don't start saying, hi, my name's Dave and I go by he, him, his pronouns just right off the bat, you close that door of opportunity to ever really address it. And while it may seem weird, I know a lot of kids have looked at me weird for saying it. It means the world to some people that get falsely identified all the time. And you never know who could possibly be going as their true self, which may not be what is perceived. And so what? It's them. It's still them. But I'd rather get you right to a T and respect your boundaries and respect the idea that you want to be called a certain way, because when I'm not called by my name, I don't like it. So imagine how someone feels when you say the wrong pronoun and you get upset when it's not even yourself that's being bothered by it. You're just upset that you have to change your mindset. You have to be culturally appropriate to these things, and you have to push that. So it starts by us just flat out doing it.
We're
And
learning.
You have to. And if not, if anything, we should just go ahead. I do this really as much as I can. Just go ahead and automatically assume third person pronouns and doing they, them. Just because they, them has no gender tied to it. So you don't have to worry about giving someone that awkward push in case they do not identify by any pronouns. Gender fluidity or non-binary individuals do have their own subcategory group of phrases or identification words that they want to go by. And that's why you have to ask pronouns, because I know zer, ziz exist, and it's usually for non-binaries. I haven't had too many people go by it, but they love being called by it. So that's what they get. You get what you want. And yes, you have to fight for it, but you shouldn't have to worry about fighting for it, because if we start integrating it now, it won't be a fight in the future.
Absolutely. And we're all learning and growing and learning how to respect people and give people equality. People are demanding equality now, and they should. This is not the same world that I grew up in when I was a teenager in the late 80s or in college in the early 90s. This is a different world, and it's evolving. Obviously, technology has evolved. You know, we didn't have the internet and all of the things that we have now, which give people a voice, you know? And so it's wonderful. People can find each other and learn and grow, or be left behind, really become obsolete. And that's why we're here, to speak out and just educate people and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're honest, I feel like, because I'm so lucky, I can ask my students questions like you. I can say, what is your ethnicity? What is your religion? And I'm just curious, and I want to learn about it, and I want to celebrate it. I'm not trying to make fun or use it against you. I'm just wanting to learn. And I think a lot of people want to learn, but they just don't have the opportunity to meet a person from West Indian, gay, pre-law, pre-med person. Did I get that right? Was it West Indian?
Yeah. You got it right.
Trinidad?
Yeah.
You said?
That's specifically.
Yeah.
Those are the right spices, Stewy. Those are
It's
the right
very
spices.
specific. And they may not meet someone like you. So now you're getting to sort of educate everybody. And I'm so happy that you agreed to do this interview for the third time. The third time. I apologize. I'm doing the best I can here with technology, but you're very patient. And I love you so much for doing this with me, Dave. Is there anything else you want to add before we hope that this works?
If anyone ever needs any resources or any guides, do ask or reach out for them. A lot of your local offices will have them if you need any LGBTQIA specific medicinal things, or also if you're going to college very soon or plan on attending or teaching or something like that, and the community is very something you're looking for, I suggest we do have pride indexes out there, and they actually rate campuses by how open, how aware they are, and how much they have to offer. So if that's something, look out for your office of LGBTQIA. They do have diversity offices. Now, if it is a division or office dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion, those offices are specifically for like Title IX requests and anything that are looking for mostly rule changes. So they are a good resource, but look to see if you specifically have an office that caters towards student life and campus life, because those are the ones that have the resources. They have free condoms, they have free STD testing. These are important to our community because we are higher risk no matter who your individual is. And they do have abuse resources, or they have a lot of mental health resources, because I do see that mental health within our community is very low. So if you ever need anything like that, reach out to Stewy. I do have access to all of these as well, so I can always keep updating them as I get them, and then just having it openly available if you need it.
That's amazing, Dave. You are wonderful. I appreciate you so much. You are inspiring and educational and everything I want to be when I grow up. So keep doing what you're doing. And I don't have anything else to say. You know, I love you. I don't know. How do we finish this? How do we end this? Because this one's going to work. Third time's the charm.
Taking a nap.
What is your final thought, Dave?
My final thought is I cannot wait till tomorrow, which is probably like 10 minutes away. It is exactly 10 minutes away till tomorrow.
That's late. We've been up. It's way past my bedtime. So anyway, thank you for joining me on Speak Out with Stewy. You've been part of my inspiration in creating this little interview show right now in this pandemic. So I will talk to you soon, okay, my love?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Bye. I hope this worked.
I hope so too. I can record again, Stewy.
This is it.
Speak out with Stewy. Speak out with Stewy. Speak out with me. Let your voice free. Speak out with Stewy. Speak out with Stewy. Let your voice ring and we will sing. Speak out with Stewy. Speak out with Stewy. Together we're in harmony. Speak out with Stewy. Speak out. The world will see. Speak out with me.
I know, I do. You're so right. But I don't understand why this is just acting so crazy, because I just deleted a ton of stuff. And
You actually should get a normal video camera, or they have those. Remember before webcams were built into? Is yours built into the computer?
it's built in. I
Yeah,
looked
before.
at buying one, but it's just saying like I have so much on here.
I had
It's-
one that was like full HD. I missed that one. Man, if I was a little cam girl, I could have made some good money.
I don't even have it. I don't even have hardly anything on here. That's the crazy thing. Let me go
You're gonna have
to
Upload probably my. Are you? Well, I guess you don't have the other videos, so you can't upload it.
let me think what I should take off of here.
Delete your commentary feedback video from the last one.
I did.
Oh, yikes! Did you delete it from the trash can?
Where's the trash can?
So go to your photos.
Okay, hold on. I'm in my photos. Okay.
Scroll. Go to the bottom, like bar. It'll say albums or something like that.
Albums, okay.
And then let me see your phone.
Recently deleted 410 things.
That's it, girl. That's why you got no space. You never actually
Delete all 410 items. Y'all, I just got an iPhone like a year ago.
I'm here to do service for the people.
Okay, so that's it? You think I'm going to be
Yep.
good now?
Yeah, you actually have space now.
Oh my God, I love you. Because I would just be screwed up this whole time. I would be so screwed up. Okay.
Damn, she really would have been running out of video forever. Beat her ass! Yes!
What are you talking
Oh, that is beautiful.
about?
Dina,
What are you doing? What are you
watching
talking
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore?
I love my dumb bitch shit.
God.
That's what I call it. Oh, it's Sam. I lied.
I'm screaming, it's Sam! Who is she fighting over,
Somebody
Ron?
yanked the back of my head and she threw her drink.
Ah,
Who is she fighting over, Ron?
I'm getting so frustrated.
Who's not bleeding? Oh, the corner. Yay.
Get it?